I see you're watching this video on YouTube. I highly recommend checking out the description below to find my channel on Odyssey and Library. The platform is ad-free after making an account, and it has no evil overlords. Thank you. Hey folks, it's starting to get to be mid to late winter, so I think it's a good time to talk about greenhouses. This greenhouse here, my brother and I put together maybe 2 or so years ago. It's a Harbor Freight 6x8. At the time we bought it, it was between $200 and $300, so it's pretty far on the budget side. Since then, I've also seen that there are canopy type greenhouses you can get that are about 10 by 10 for maybe similar prices. So I checked before this video, and the greenhouse is still about $400, so not too bad with how things are going up. Now I want to mention 2 things that we did to this greenhouse that helped improve it and make it much more usable for us. So the first thing we did, which we found and recommended in other videos from people using this greenhouse, is we built it on top of a wooden frame. So the wood we used was maybe 2 by 10 or 2 by 12, and we built it into a 6 by 8 square, and then we put the greenhouse on it, and then the aluminum flashing, whatever you want to call it, we screwed directly into the wood, so the greenhouse is attached to it. Now what we also did, because we want to be able to move it, is we put these handles here on the bottom. It's kind of hard to see from the shadows. There's one here and one here, and this is the back. On the front we have the same thing, so 2 adults can carry this wherever we need to put it. And it works fine. There's no shifting issues with the greenhouse on top, because on the inside we use brackets to make sure that the wood was connected properly. Now the second thing we recommend doing is putting self-tapping screws through the plastic into this aluminum. So the panels, when they come from Harbor Freight, they come with these little springs, these little metal bracket things, and you basically wedge it underneath this aluminum and it holds these in place. But here in southern Indiana we get some pretty gusty weather, and I was consistently having panels falling out. And that's not a good thing if you have a heater running in there, or you're trying to use passive heat to keep the plants alive during the night, especially if it's going to freeze. So what we did is take some self-tapping screws. These are exactly what we used. They are number 6 hex head, 1/2 inch, zinc coated, self-drilling screws. And anywhere that the plastic was lined up with the metal, so you can see one here, this one here, here. This side does not have any because the plastic was too far away from the metal, but there's one here, one here, one here. Anywhere along the sides, we used it. We did not end up using it on the roof because the roof panels were not the ones falling out. It was usually these side panels, mostly because these metal things would fall off and then the panels would fall out. Ever since attaching these, we haven't had a single panel fall out, regardless of whether the door and the windows are shut, whether one or others are open. They're always staying in now, which is amazing. It makes this much more sturdy. And if you know anything about Harbor Freight, a nickname for them is Harbor Junk, or the Hunky Junk Store, and that can really be true with their tools and materials. They usually don't last very long. If you have a project and you've never used a tool before, it can be useful to buy one of their tools and learn how to use it on that, rather than buying a more expensive tool and possibly damaging it just because of the price difference. And then once the Harbor Freight tool runs out, there are many people that buy a good quality tool from Black & Decker or any of those other fancier brands. Now that it's getting to be mid to late winter, it's about the time to start thinking about which seeds you're going to start. You might want to start them inside if you have a greenhouse like this without a heat source, and then once the plants are growing, you can transplant them into larger pots, and they should be able to survive in here once it's closer to the late winter, early spring stage. If you do have a heater, you can start your seeds in the greenhouse. That should be fine. But that's also, something you have to think about regarding power bill. You're already heating your home, so why would you want to also heat a greenhouse if you can start the seeds in there? The seeds don't need actual sunlight until they're becoming larger plants, and that's probably after they've been transplanted from the seed starting medium. So, hope this video has been helpful for you. If you think about getting one of these, It honestly isn't bad. It was somewhat difficult to put together, but within a day or two, we had it all assembled. The first day we worried about doing the metal pieces, and then the next day we put these together. It could have been one day if we would have attacked it from, start to finish, but just because of schedules, I think it ended up being over 2 days. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one.